Welcome to the Hall of Generals, the channel where we carry out battles on the tabletop and film them with a narrative edge. This is the first battle report of our campaign for Warhammer, the Old World, set in the Kingdom of Hillsbury, a homebrewed kingdom that is heavily inspired by Bretonnia and Arthurian legend. If you haven't seen our introductory video, please click the link in the description below, as it will help you understand the lore. Along with that, our army lists for this battle can be found in the description below. And with that, let us begin. The War of the Three Heirs is most commonly believed to have begun with the Battle of Greystone, when Prince Taman met House Burgess on the field of battle. But this is just a common misconception. While the battle was the first to include Prince Taman against the family of Hillsbury, it was not the first to include those who defended. Upon Prince Taman declaring his claim to the throne, House Robinson, who controlled the city of Skillian, declared their allegiance to the heretic, choosing to defect and swear their allegiance to their new king. By King Douglas IV's orders, Prince Hemdrake the Bastard rode forth, leading a small force to take the heavily garrisoned town of Skillian and capture both the Baron, Lord Robert Robinson, and his uncle, Threnald the Wise, a wizard who chose to turn his back on the kingdom he served. As we roll off, we see the traders make the first move. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning when the scouts noted the bastard prince's army marching towards the city. Lord Robert ordered his men to prepare, setting his trebuchet to the right flank, accompanied by a band of archers. Next to them was a group of mounted peasants with a myriad of weapons. Sat in the centre of the traitors' line sat a large cannon owned by a band of mercenaries that had traded their service for coin. Accompanying them were the loyal knights that had sworn oaths to Lord Robert, in which the disgraced Baron and Wizard were bodyguarded. To their left were the rest of the mercenaries, a group that wielded crossbows for weapons and branded a banner showing themselves as the Brothers of Coin. On the far left flank sat a mob of peasants wielding an array of polearms. Next to them were the final peasants on horseback, securing the flank. The prince chose to deploy a unit of his men-at-arms on his right flank, supported by a band of archers. In the centre, he joined his personal bodyguard of Grail Knights, along with his betrothed, Lady Charlotte of House Burgess, who rode on a majestic unicorn. To the prince's left were a small contingent of unmounted knights, along with a group of mounted knights that had adopted a lance formation. Lastly, a group of archers took advantage of a hill on the flank. To begin, the armies of Skillian had their cavalry on the left flank, along with their peasants advance towards their enemy. Along with the cavalry on the right. The Duke ordered the rest of the army to stay stationary to let the enemy advance on them. The traitors opened fire with everything they had, with their light missiles doing minor damage to the prince's army. While the cannon missed its fire entirely due to being overfilled with gunpowder. This led to the weapon being rendered useless. The highlight of the Skillian offense was when the large trebuchet killed the majority of the foot knights, who somehow stood true, refusing to flee. The Loyalist light infantry sauntered their way forward, eager for battle, while their accompanying archers readied their bows for an attack on the enemy. The prince led his retinue forward, with the knights on foot following. The archers on the hill sat still. The prophetess of House Burgess attempted to cast the enchantment Glittering Robe, but was unsuccessful. The archers attempted to lay heavy fire on the enemies across the hill, which only managed to kill 2 of the mounted peasants. The prophetess, Lady Scarlet, once again attempted to cast a great spell, which she manifested a magic missile. She failed to kill an enemy. The unmounted peasants quickly marched forward to take the hill, while the Baron ordered his men to pivot to be more prepared for a frontal charge. In a shocking case, the mounted peasants chose to charge the knights ahead, hoping to earn their glory this day. The crossbowmen opened fire on the enemy light infantry, killing a single man. While in the midfield, repairs were rushed to get the cannon back into commission. The archers on the right flank opened fire at their enemy longbowmen that sat on the hill opposing them, killing one enemy, while once again the trebuchet scored a direct hit, killing 3 knights who miraculously passed their leadership test. In what could only be expected, the feeble peasants failed to hit a single knight with their weapons, while the knights massacred the poor peasants, killing 2 of them. This led to the peasants fleeing, knowing they were outmatched. As they attempted to flee the battlefield, they were run down by the knights, cut down with their last thoughts being that of prayer. The Loyalist light infantry proceeded forward to get closer to the enemy on the hill, while the archers still readied their bows. Prince Himdrick led his warriors forward towards the traitor men, ready to charge, which the Knights of the Realm, whose blades were freshly bloodied, charged the cannon and the mercenaries that crewed it. Once again, the prophetess attempted to cast a magic missile, which she succeeded in, but once again, it failed to kill an enemy. The archers on the hill opened fire on their enemy archers, killing 4 men, while their fellow longbowmen on the far rank opened fire on the enemy mercenaries, but unfortunately they failed to kill a man. To the surprise of the sellswords, the Knights of the Realm successfully charged the cannon, quickly cutting down the crew with ease, before running into the disgraced knights across the way. Unable to hold their rage, the Skillian peasants charged the loyal men-at-arms, while their mounted brethren followed on the left to support them. The heretical archers opened fire upon the archers on the hill, failing to kill a single man, while the crossbowmen killed a single archer. The trebuchet opened fire on the enemy archers as well, but scattered, hitting nothing but grass, creating a large crater. The traitors attacked with their polearms, managing to kill 2 of the Loyalist light infantry, while the men-at-arms returned their attacks, cutting down 4 enemies before giving ground to regroup. The Loyalist heavy cavalry charged into the flank of the traitor heavy infantry, easily slaying 2 of their enemies, while the traitors struggled to even scratch the armour of the Loyalists, leading to them giving ground for only a moment's rest. The bastard prince led his men and betrothed into battle against his enemies, knowing it was his chance to capture the enemy generals and to have them executed when they returned home. Across the battlefield, the men-at-arms chose to charge the peasants in another act of war. The longbowmen on the hill continued with their success, peppering shots at the enemy archers, killing another 2 men, leading to them fleeing. To the right, the Loyalist archers opened fire on the mercenaries, killing 3 of them. Another bloody skirmish, the men-at-arms cut down 3 of their enemies, while taking 2 casualties before themselves giving ground. As the knights charged the traitors, the bastard prince screamed for Lord Robinson to face him in combat, which the Baron obliged. Before the duel had even taken place though, 5 of the fallen knights were killed with ease by the heavy cavalry. Lord Robinson was a formidable warrior, but so too was Pimhimdrek. Neither men could land a blow on the other, but with the chaos and commotion, the 2 units of knights charging, the heretics fled. Unable to rally his knights, Lord Robinson and the wizard were seen fleeing the field of battle. This greatly hurt the morale of the last of the traders, leading the archers who were already broken to continue to flee. Undeterred, the peasant light infantry charged the Loyalist men-at-arms, showing the last courage left by the heretics. Once again, the crossbowmen opened fire into the longbowmen, killing 3 of their enemies, while the trebuchet continued its barrage against the same men. To their shock, the trebuchet sergeant was killed as his weapon launched its stone through the air, he had been caught in the firing mechanism, leading to him being ripped in two. The peasants of Skillian showed tremendous heart, killing 2 more of their enemies, while the men-at-arms failed to kill any. This led to them fleeing in a shameful display before being cut down by their enemy, who charged after them. And with that, the battle has come to an end, with Skillian being reclaimed by the Loyalists. The wizard was captured in his tower and was later burnt at the stake. 3 days later, Lord Robinson was captured and stripped of his titles before given the opportunity to serve as a member in the Order of the Lady. He took the opportunity as a way to redeem himself in the eyes of the lady. While this was a sweet victory for our Loyalists, it was not a time to celebrate too early. Prince Taman is mustering his army in the north, being able to muster and call upon the wild men of the forest, who have been, for the most part, savage tribes that fought amongst themselves, until the prince united them. They will be a deadly enemy. But with that, our story comes to the end. While Prince Hendrik celebrates with his betrothed and brothers-in-arms, the War of the Three Heirs is only just beginning.